Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me, as always, Eric, Nathaniel, and Dennis. And yes, it's a Wednesday evening, and we're here.
Let's just got off work.
No need to check the calendars and be like, "It's today."
Yeah, well,
Saturday?
is it Saturday already? What the crap?
Yeah, what? Already?
Yes, today is Saturday, and then the next 2 days are also Saturday, and then we have what we call real Saturday.
Yeah. We just schedules were just not going to mesh this weekend, so it was like, you know what? If we're going to do a show, we're going to have to do it on Wednesday, and it's just going to have to be good. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter what day we do it. It's just nice that I'm actually on vacation. I can do it on a Wednesday. I'm not sitting in some hotel room twiddling my thumbs or something, you know. So, but yeah, because there was so much crap going on this week with all these Gamefest and the Bethesda Showcase and stuff like that. So we was like, well, we're just going to do a show. We're just going to talk about that, and not talk about what we've been playing because most of us have been playing the same old crap anyway. So,
Hey, I played a bunch of different stuff.
oh, did you? Is it all old? Was it all old or was it all new? That's the only question I'm going to ask about it.
It was mostly new, actually. Stuff from the last year.
Oh, okay. Well, that is new. That is different for you. So, well, you'll have something to talk about next time.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. I tried to put them all in order that they were on, that they were televised, but I might have got them out of order since it was so long ago for some of it. But Summer Game Fest was was it a week ago Thursday, I believe? Something like that.
Last Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, it was Thursday.
It was okay overall. I mean, it wasn't...
It was okay to watch it afterwards so that you can remedy the terrible pacing and just skip to all the trailers and stuff.
That's the way I watched it. I did not watch it live. I watched it after the fact because it come on at like 2:00 in the afternoon on a Thursday. It's like, that's a terrible time for people that are working. You know, it was
an arbitrary time.
I understand it's summertime, but not all of us are still in high school and college and off on summer break.
Right, exactly.
So, but I caught it afterwards, and that's exactly what I did. I even watched it on my phone and went fast forward, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Fast forward, fast forward.
I just looked at the summary.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. I think I condensed it down from an hour and a half or however long it was to like 30 minutes. Yeah, it was. It wasn't very long.
That's more or less what I did. Like, I usually watch these things live too, but this was one of the few times where I watched the VOD and I was like thankful because I was just kind of, skipping. Which I never do that. Even if I do have to watch, a VOD afterwards, I usually don't skip. But this was one of those times where I was like, man, just some of this stuff I don't care about. I just really don't.
Yeah.
I should have known better. Even if you watch every single trailer that's in this one, it would be way faster than the freaking. Hey, we're gonna spend 15 minutes talking on stage now because we're not paying attention to a teleprompter if we even have one.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like,
just some of the highlights. How do you say that? The protocol game, the
Callisto Protocol
still looks pretty cool.
So that and then a bunch of other things that were mostly in here and then a couple other places means we've got a lot of people who like Dead Space. Whether they were involved, like the Callisto Protocol is one of the creators of Dead Space, I think, is on that.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of them that are very like, hey, dark and creepy sci-fi horror games. There's several of them coming.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Well,
cool, I guess.
Like we said last week, that was kind of the state of play, was kind of the state of horror games. There was a lot of horror games in that. It's
almost like when you have two movies that come out that have almost the same exact premise by different studios, and they come out in the same year. It seems like we're going to have a little bit of the video game equivalent of that here soon, because they're going to have the Dead Space remake itself, and we're going to have other games inspired by it, or just other space horror games coming. That's like, all right. I'm detecting a theme.
Yeah, the deep impact Armageddon effect is what we call that.
Or is it like Volcano and Dante's Peak?
Yeah, that was another one. Well, you were going to say something, Dennis. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, it just makes you wonder, because I think people have been sort of like fiending or foaming at the mouth for something like Dead Space, if not a new Dead Space, for like ever now. And now we're actually getting the remake. However, now aside from the remake, we have Callisto Protocol, and then the other one, Fort Solace, and then there's like two other ones that were like revealed over this past week. And like, it's just been crazy where it's like, why didn't you guys? You had all this time. all this time to make a sort of Dead
Gotta
Space-esque
spread this out.
game. Yeah,
See,
spread
what
it out. Now
happened
we're
is it
getting
took all this
oversaturation.
time for somebody to get one going, but there's all these different people pitching it. But then as soon as one went through, then some other studio's like, "Oh, I heard they're making this one. We got to have one too." And then it's just like Gold Rush.
It's like, dude, there's this untapped market of games, genres. It's just not, we got to get in on it. And then like 17 other people had the exact same thought. It's like, it's fine, but that one does look cool, and I'm not much on horror games, but that one does look very, very cool, very, very creepy. I was just thinking of some of the other highlights. The Marvel's Midnight Suns trailer they showed, that looked really cool. That's still coming out this year, I believe. Yeah, October 7th. So what's funny is we're going to get it and Gotham Knights in the same month, as long as everything still stays the same, because Gotham Knights comes out the end of October. So we're going to get a Marvel and a DC game in the same month, which will be cool.
It's a whole lot of superhero, but they're two different. Isn't Midnight Suns more of like a
XCOM,
sort of like a strategy RPG?
Yeah, it's done by the XCOM people. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think they've said it's going to be a lot
tactical real-time-ish strategy game, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be quite like XCOM, but it's the XCOM people making it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm all for it. So
yeah, I am too.
Yeah. I thought what was interesting though was that apparently, I don't know if anybody noticed, but apparently the Switch logo is no longer there. So I don't know if it got silently canceled or what happened, but it was supposed to come to Switch.
Yeah, it was.
But now it's.
At the Switch.
And then they looked at it and said, "Oh,
yeah.
Oh, if we do that, we're gonna have to make a completely different game on the side and make two at once." Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Switch could run that thing. Not very well, anyway. And I think the days are kind of behind us of, well, we're going to bring it out on the Switch and just really, really dumb it down. It's not going to run real good, but we're going to go ahead and bring it out anyway. I don't think that's going to happen a lot anymore.
News is
that's what I've been thinking.
It's going to come out at a later date. Like, it'll be everything else hit this fall in October, but it'll be available at a later date. But that doesn't tell us anything. I mean,
yeah.
They're just waiting to develop for the Super Switch that's totally coming out soon, right?
Is it two Switches stacked to each other? They pull it in half like the DS?
Duct tape, it works wonders.
It's coming to the Switch. Well, it's not the Switch. It's coming to the Steam Deck, which is the Switch. Goat Simulator 3 is coming out. They just skipped right over 2 and went right to 3.
I mean, if they'd just done Goat Simulator 2, that would have been disappointing. It has to go straight to 3. I mean, come on. Either that or give it some ridiculous subtitle to it, but yeah.
Yeah.
That first game was ridiculous. That it's just probably like, hey, we had a bunch more ideas in the meantime after we stopped on that game, so let's just do another one.
Why not?
I feel like internally they probably had Goat Simulator 2, but then they were just like, nah, this is Goat Simulator 3. This is too good.
They had it on like a whiteboard someday, and then somebody just turned the 2 into a 3, and everyone's like, genius!
Yes.
They pretty much took like the Stanley Parable route, where it's just like, 2. No one needs those. It's the trilogy. That's all about the trilogy.
Yeah. Let's see what else. That Saints Row Boss Factory thing looked pretty hilarious. I didn't download it and try it out, but it looked pretty interesting if you like.
I didn't try that.
Shredder's Revenge comes out tomorrow, and it's coming to Game Pass tomorrow with 6-player online co-op. Holy crap on a stick! That's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Or just super chaotic. Good Lord, that's a lot of people on screen at once.
That is a lot of people on screen at once.
And that's without any enemies yet.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. Right.
And there's no I can't preload it on Xbox. If it's on the Game Pass preload thing, I can't find it. I looked for it.
Why would you? That game's not going to be that big.
I don't care. I want to go ahead and preload it so I don't have to download it in the morning. I can just go, bam, I can play this crap.
Or you can download it in the morning and then 2 minutes later, bam, you can play that crap.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. It'll probably be a couple gigs, but it's not like it's going to be, like 90 gigabytes.
Yeah, it's not going to be humongous, but I still like to have all my things already preloaded to download, because then I end up forgetting about them and then sit down and go, okay, I'm here to play a game. What do I want to play? Oh, that new game came out. Did I I got to sit here and wait on it to download.
It has kind of spoiled me, honestly, the whole preloading thing, because like even like on the Switch or PlayStation or Steam, even I'm just like, man, I wish I could preload this now because I don't want to have to, that day be excited to play it and then still gotta wait.
Maybe on the others, but not Steam. Steam has the best servers. Like they're always super, super fast. It's not like PlayStation where you're like, all right, my internet should be able to go at least 5 or 6 times this fast. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, that's what's nice with Steam is I can choose the server it's closest to me. So the closest server to me is like 2 hours away. So it's just like, those things download in no time. And it's ridiculous how fast I get stuff to download to the Steam Deck. In fact, I don't think I should be able to get stuff downloaded that fast to the Steam Deck. It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, they're pretty good at they have like servers like beautifully placed all over the place. Like I think in North Carolina they have one in Charlotte, and then like in Arizona there's one in Phoenix, I believe. So it's like they just have servers everywhere.
Yeah, they've had to build it and money at this point to build it up over a decade plus. So it's just like, we've got all our servers and we've optimized our tech, so it's pretty good at this point.
One of the things that leaked like literally hours before the Summer Game Fest was the Last of Us Part 1, the Last of Us remake or remaster of a remake of a remaster. I don't know even what.
All it is, here's the simple way to put it. Hey guys, we made Last of Us Part 2 and we've got all these really, really shiny models that a lot of it could totally just be like swapped over to Last of Us Part 1. Let's do that. And then like they still have to build levels and stuff, but you've got like all these different, like say growth of fungus, growth of plants, broken down building walls, character models even. They've got enough character models from Part 2 that would totally just like straight move over because they've got flashbacks in there that you could totally just use it for the first game because they flash back to scenes that were in the first game. So
let's go ahead and
they know that they can sell it.
I know, and charge $70 for it of all things.
Have they actually said that it's going to be $70?
It's $69.99.
To be fair, that's a game that's actually, I can see like, it's a lot, but why would they charge less for it? Because that's a marquee game. There's some other games that you're like, nah, but if any, like you, even just like the art that goes into that, whether you like the game or not, you'd be like, yeah, that's worth $70 because it's kind of like watching a movie where all of their giant budget is on screen. It looks expensive. That's the Last of Us games. They look expensive because that's what Naughty Dog does.
Well, and then it's not going to have the multiplayer on it like the other one did. They're going to do a standalone multiplayer and charge for it as well.
Hey, guess what? That standalone multiplayer game can go suck a big one.
I agree.
I hope it fails. But it's not what they do best. Like they've added some passable multiplayer modes in previous games that could be fun, but not enough. That's not what I want from that studio. Give me a new IP that's a cool story, or even go back to Uncharted or do whatever. Just tell stories. That's what you're really good at.
Right.
Don't do multiplayer. Even if you're like, "Whoa, we're doing multiplayer with a story now." Like. I don't care. I'm not gonna play it.
There's a rabid fan base for that multiplayer for that thing, though, and I don't. I don't
even know why.
I don't either.
And this is coming from someone who's like a big Last of Us fan, but no, just like Nathaniel was saying, I mean, like, I didn't care for any of Uncharted's multiplayer. I didn't care for Last of Us multiplayer. I just don't care for any of it because again, that's not their strong suit. Right. I can appreciate it, but it's just like
pretty good for multiplayer. That's deep.
Yeah.
But there's like no shortage of multiplayer stuff out there. There's a lot less like crafted single player games, especially ones that are kind of like the style that are mostly kind of linear or, they might be a little bit wider at points, but like the ones that Naughty Dog makes, we don't get as many of those games. Certainly not at the budget that they have for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, let them run with that. Like, I mean, maybe the studio wants to do the multiplayer thing, which is cool, I guess, but that's not really what I personally want from them.
I think they just want to get both of these things out before the HBO series starts to help.
That's probably a thing. Just like, hey, let's maximize all the SEO tie-ins so we can get all of them. Maximize. They're min-maxing their stats. Like, if we're gonna do it, we got to do it now so we can get the maximum impact from it.
And I'm, and I've said it a dozen times. I don't care for The Last of Us. I like the story, but I don't care for the gameplay and that stuff like that. So I think I'd be more interested in the TV show because
that screenshot that they have from it, like, oh hey, you knew they would, but they look good. Like, yep, that looks like a TV version of Joel and Ellie. Now, like, I'd like to see a trailer and the actual show, please. When's it coming out?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never really, I've tried to play it on PlayStation 3, and then I tried to play it again on PlayStation 4, and I just didn't care for the gameplay of it and the pacing of it. But I like the story and the setting.
That's something I'll be interested that I'm sure they're probably going to do is to update the gameplay with stuff that they have from Last of Us Part 2 into Part 1. That will actually help a lot of that, even though you probably still wouldn't enjoy it. But they did add a lot of just subtle things with like how the AI behaves and some other different like abilities that I hope they carry them over to Part 1, because like the basic gist of like, here's what you're doing is pretty much the same in the game. It's just you have a little bit more like extra things on top of it in the second game that they didn't have in the first one, just because, hey, we've already done one game, how can we improve it? Also, we have better technology now, what can we do? So and if they carry that over, that'll be cool.
Yeah, and see, and I didn't even try Part 2 because I was just like, you know what, I gave 1 2 times. It's like, no, I'm not even going to attempt Part 2. So, and maybe, I don't know.
I mean, if you could get a hold of Part 2 for free so that you could like look at it for a little bit just to see how pretty it is, because it's a ridiculously good looking game. But knowing how much you did not like the first one, I doubt the second one would change your mind.
Probably not. I mean, it's like I say, I hate that, but at the same time, it's like, oh, there's a TV show coming out. I'll probably like.
You know what would be really fun? That like they've done kind of like a post-apocalypse thing, and they've done kind of like their Indiana Jones adventure kind of thing. What if they could do a new franchise that's more like a sci-fi thing or a fantasy thing or some other kind of like genre, like applying their storytelling skills into like other areas? I think would be awesome.
Yeah, I do
like,
too. I would
hopefully
love
we'll get to see that someday, and they're not just doing Last of Us from now till forever. It's like, yes,
I
like the franchise, but
that's what it feels like.
Don't do all of that. That's like
right. Yeah,
we need some variety, guys.
Yeah, please
Spice it up.
But I mean, hopefully that's the case, just because I mean, Neil Druckmann, did come out and say like they do have a new project. He just can't talk about it right now. As every studio says.
They have multiple ones. They've grown so much. Like the studio's big enough, they can have so many teams work on so many different things at this point. That
yeah. I hope it's something new and different. I know everybody wants The Last of Us 3, and I'm sure that's coming. I mean, I don't.
I don't want Last of Us 3 just yet, if at all. The way they end it, like you could, but they need to have time for it to kind of like bake, so that they figure out what they want to do with it first before, instead of just rushing into it and kind of, getting a crappy, story that's not as good as what they could do. Because like Last of Us 1 to Last of Us 2 had so much time in between, and I think that helped figure out what they wanted to do with it. It wasn't something they could have just rushed into.
Yeah.
Same for 3. Plus, give us a break. Part 2 is friggin' devastating game, man. Let us recover before you just break us down again with, Last of Us Part 3 is going to be even more brutal. Come on.
Yeah, I can only handle so much.
Anything else from Summer Game Fest? I'm excited for Flashback 2. I know a lot of people are like, Flashback 2? I didn't even... I like the original.
I got a flashback to tell me what Flashback is?
Yeah, I liked it on the Genesis. I loved that game back in the day. That's how I played it. I know a lot of people played it on PC, but I didn't have a PC then. I played it on the Genesis. So, but I mean,
the only thing that really caught my attention out of everything on Summer Game Fest was they did announce Layers of Fears as well, but instead of Layers of Fear 3, it's Layers of Fears. So, but they said there's a reason behind it.
Because like the previous games are Layers of Fear singular, but plural layers. Is that what the old ones are? Layers of Fear.
Yeah, it's Layers of Fear, correct? Yeah,
okay.
And then but this one's Layers of Fears. So it's like,
you know what they should do after is Layer of Fear, but it's like a dragon lair. Spell it that way.
But then, like, secretly be like a remake of that Layer game from PS3 that no one liked or enjoyed.
Sure, I don't know. Why not?
That Layer.
There's a lot of different variations they could do on the title. Anyway, sorry for interrupting again.
Oh, no worries. But it was supposed to be like a remake, apparently, of Layers of Fear, but then apparently it just got sort of crazy, and they came up with all these new ideas, so they just created a new game instead. But it was initially supposed to be a remake, and it's it's in Unreal Engine 5 too, apparently, so it's gonna look gorgeous.
Yeah, it'll be shiny.
I was trying to think. I was just looking through the highlights real quick. I was trying to think if there's anything else that I did that while I was watching. I just went, "Oh, that's gonna look really cool." The Aliens game sounded pretty cool. The trailer
really
was cool.
That trailer was bad.
You didn't think that
so
was
bad? Like the trailer itself was like, okay, if this was like an animated movie or something I could see, it's like, okay, I knew right away what franchise it was just from seeing a couple of things, and then as soon as it's like, oh, it's just some top-down shooter thingy, you're making this look way cooler than it actually is going to be. Yeah. Like it could be okay, but it's not as big and cool as they're trying to make it look with that trailer.
Yeah, especially with like, and right now it has a bad taste in my mouth with like how it that Fireteam Elite nonsense that came out not long ago. No, I just I'm still recovering from that. But Alien Isolation is a masterpiece. So,
they kicked it off with Street Fighter 6. Nathaniel, did that change your mind on Street Fighter in any way, shape, or form, or did you still go
Street Fighter 6 for what?
When the
Gamefest? Game Fest?
Yeah, you know how they had
it was
the trailer
somewhere in the middle. It was like a fun trailer, but I'm not like a fighting game person, so it's like, okay, it looks like Street Fighter. It's fine.
All right, let's move on to the Bethesda Showcase because they actually did two.
Xbox Bethesda. It's not just Bethesda, man.
Just Bethesda, but it's I liked what Xbox did with this, where they went, you know. Of course, if you go online, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You know, everybody
ignore people online.
I know, but you know, last year it was, here we're going to show trailers of stuff that is 3, 4, maybe even 5 years out. And this year they said, okay, what we're going to do is this is what's coming to get Xbox over the next 12 months. This is our plan.
But that's not even new. They've done this before. Like just this time they're doing it completely that, but most of the stuff for the last like few years is stuff that's coming relatively soon, in 12 to 24 months at most.
They started off with Redfall, and that was a game that I was just kind of like, fine, it looked cool, but actually seeing some gameplay of it, I'm like, you know what, that might not be bad, and it might really be cool co-op. Look like
it's kind of like, let's do Left 4 Dead Vampires, but with a little bit of arcane DNA and the powers you can do, and like, so it looked about how I would expect it to. So it's not like it's a bad looking game. I don't know if it's a game I will play, but
hey, it'll be on Game Pass. I'll play it.
Yeah, I was like, we'll see when it comes out, but the trailer was cool enough.
Yeah, and there was a lot of what they showed was gameplay. There were trailers, regular cinematic trailers, but there was a lot of gameplay trailers.
Yeah, it was mostly gameplay, which is really nice.
Yeah,
I'd really nice.
Gameplay, than the movie stuff, because I want to see what the game's gonna, play like.
Yeah,
right.
My interest.
Because I mean, how many times have we been let down? Was just like, that game looks cool, but then when you see the actual game, it's like, oh, you lose interest. Like they'll have a great cinematic, and but that's it. Yeah.
Gameplay months later, and just like, promise me one thing.
Where was the Forza Motorsports? They showed it. That thing looks.
No. We're not skipping to that crap yet. No. We're going to the absolute coolest thing that they showed, which was the actual second thing they showed. Silksong is coming to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Suck it, Nintendo.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
And I was getting to that one. I was going to try to save that one for a little bit, but that's fine. We can talk about it.
See, we should go in order. This Xbox thing is like, A, it's large text, so it takes forever to scroll, and B, they have it in some random order.
But yeah, that game looks really super cool.
The only bad thing about the Silksong trailer is there's not a date yet, so we don't know when exactly it's coming. And it wasn't on like the chart of things either, so we can't guess. But man, that game looks so good. Just knowing Hollow Knight pretty well from playing it so many times is looking at her moveset. It's like, oh, there's so many cool things she could do. This is awesome. And it looks like it'll be quite different from Hollow Knight, at least just as far as like your abilities and how you're fighting. It's going to be a lot more mobile, which makes sense for the character.
Right.
Since she was in the first one too, and you get to have some of the stuff she used against you in the first game in the boss fights. You're like, yes, I can put little like pin things in the air. Yes, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to throw threads across the screen and poke people with needles. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it will. I'm looking forward to that. I was glad to see more footage of the actual game. It's actually.
Because the one from 3 years ago at Nintendo, 2 years ago, I forget. I think it was.
It was a couple of years, at least a couple, 2, 3.
Yeah. It might have even been 2019.
It might have been 2017.
Anyway, like there's a little bit of footage there, but this looks, much more polished, closer to the end, release quality of what the game itself will actually look like after they've worked on it for 2 or 3 more years.
Right.
And it looks good enough that I'm like, yes, that looks like the quality of Hollow Knight, so hopefully they're close enough to releasing it. It's a tiny, like, what, 2-man team, I think, that makes those games. So
it's not big at
it's
all.
kind of hard to predict, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later, because ever since they announced it, I can't wait for that game.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Riot is bringing all of their friggin' League of Legends games. Holy crap.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And it's not only is it that, but you're going to get all the bonuses across it. So I was reading, I don't play League of Legends, so I know of it, and I know, there's a lot of loot stuff and, buying this and that, but you're going to be, it's going to be League of Legends on PC, League of Legends Wild Rift mobile, League of Legends Runeterra on PC and mobile, and Teamfight Tactics on PC and mobile, and Valorant on PC. And like one of them, like you get all the bonus stuff. It's like 600 and
I think it's more than one of them.
It's a lot.
You get it.
Yeah.
And my friend who plays League all the time, I can just like point at him, laugh, and be like, "Hey, all the money you've spent on League over the years, look, it's coming to Game Pass with all of it."
Yeah.
I remember when Riot Games would come to PAX, and just the amount of people that would be in line just for Riot Games, just for the skins they would give out. And then I would see the skins like a week later on eBay for like $50 or $60, and they would be selling incredibly fast. The line would be like 3 hours deep, and there'd be tons of fans. I just walk. I don't really care that much about League. It's just interesting to see that many people, And I'm sure just coming to Game Pass, more people are going to play. It's just going to have more exposure.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Especially like giving out all that content too. Like that'll get people to like come in and stay. And apparently you get to keep it too. So even after your subscription lapses, so long as you have like your Riot account, I guess that travels with you apparently. So you get to keep everything. So which is great because it'll get people to subscribe for $15 a month, get all that content. They don't have to subscribe after that, but hey, that's a new subscriber for Game Pass. So
exactly.
Game Pass wins.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's like, for me personally, it's a 0 because I don't care about League at all. But knowing how big that is, like that is a big deal that Microsoft, had to make for that, and that's huge for a lot of people. It's awesome.
It's like I didn't, I have nothing, hardly anything about League, and I saw that and I went, wow, that's that is
all I want to know about League is that they continue to make $1 bajillion so that they can keep making Arcane on Netflix.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Let's see. What else? I mean, we could talk about the Kojima Productions thing that they came out and said, "Hey, we're doing a game with Kojima," and Kojima.
That lead up was hilarious. Because that was the part of the, Xbox has got some Japanese stuff now, guys. And at the end of it, they're like, hey, we're working with some really cool, person who's really awesome. And then Kojima shows up and says, like, I'm making a game. Bye. Like, okay, so you guys just pretty much like finalized this deal, maybe a few weeks ago or months ago, because they don't even have like concept art or anything.
Yeah, they don't have anything.
Then again, it's Kojima, so he'd probably hold off on that for a while anyway, until he has more to show. But still, it's like, how soon how like quick has this deal happened? Because there's not anything to show.
Right.
Although supposedly, I heard on a podcast there was supposedly a trailer for it. But because it's not coming in the next 12 months, they are guessing that they cut it because supposedly a trailer for it leaked or something a few weeks ago. Maybe not even that long. A little before the Xbox thing anyway. I don't know if that's just that podcast pulling a bunch of random dumb things on the internet that aren't true because I haven't actually researched it myself. But, who knows? Maybe it's further along than we're guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't like really surprise me though, like if something like this was so new, just because like literally the day after, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the day after Kojima's contract with Konami ended, if not that night, PlayStation had released a video saying that like, hey, we're partnering up with him and his new studio to basically make, at the time before they didn't have a name for it, but what would end up becoming Death Stranding basically. But it was literally that day. The day his contract ended. So I mean, they take advantage of these things.
Well, and I'd read for over the past year articles about him really interested in the cloud technology that Microsoft had. So, I knew it was going to happen at some point because he was really interested in getting something made that harnesses that cloud technologies, that tech.
I think whatever he's doing will probably be used in this. I don't think the game is going to run like solely on cloud technology. Like you'll have a physical copy and whatnot. But I think what because I've seen a lot of people misconstrue that, but I think what they're trying to say is, or what Kojima is probably intending to do, is probably utilize something like how Microsoft Flight Simulator works, right? Where it's like they use the cloud to get these super high resolution assets.
Well,
that
that's how Sea of Thieves does their water. It's cloud based. They use the cloud to do the water. That's why that water looks so awesome.
It's unparalleled, man.
Yeah,
Sea of Thieves is like it's worth buying just for the water.
Yeah, just get in a boat and just go and just look at that water and when the sun and the light hit, just go. Yeah, that's nice. You know, it's like, and then you don't have to play it again if you don't want to, and I totally understand. It's like, because
see, this is the real Sunny D.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because they had one Sea of Thieves announcement. And it was you could buy your own boat, you could name it, and you could keep your loadouts on it. And I'm like, it's all I want. I'm sold. Thanks. So,
I was like, wait, you couldn't buy. I was like, wait, you couldn't buy your boat already? I was confused by that. But
yeah,
all right, cool.
This one you can actually buy it and keep it, and when you log on
I guess
the server,
you had boat skins or whatever.
Right.
You didn't have like your actual persistent boat.
Right. Yeah, and you're the captain of it. So yeah, it's like
I was always the captain of my crappy tiny boat.
But speaking of the Japanese games, we might as well just get the Persona is coming to Xbox out of the way.
That made people angry.
It made
angry.
A lot of people angry.
It made a lot more people happy because people who are angry are freaking dumbasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. I saw that and I was like, oh, that's awesome. That might actually get me to play Persona 5 again, even though I rage quit that game right at the end of the final boss.
I forgot about that.
I was like, I own it. I still have it on PlayStation. But it's on Game Pass. It makes it easy. It's like, it's right there. I can just download it. Yeah. Dumb.
So,
but
I'm excited. I played those games on, the Persona 3 Portable. I played that originally on the PSP when it originally came out.
And I still have my copy.
And I do have a physical copy of that as well, actually. Persona 4 Golden, played that on Vita.
I got it on the Vita. I even bought it the other day. It was on sale on Steam for like $7.
I was gonna say I bought it on PC as well.
I bought it on the Steam Deck to play it. So, and then they turn around and say, "Hey, it's coming to Game Pass." Son of a.
It's like,
whatever game I want to come to Game Pass, I'm just going to buy it on Steam, and then all of a sudden the next day it'll show up on Game Pass. So,
hey, John, I kind of want this on Game Pass. Can you buy it?
Yeah, sure, no problem, no problem at all. I'll do that for you. It's like,
well, John, if you don't mind, I've been waiting for Tales of Arise to come to Game Pass. So just,
I bought it a long time ago. I own it, so that one actually didn't happen. So it was
I'm fight again
in the works.
But I bought it new.
John bought it.
Maybe that was it. I bought it day one.
Okay,
maybe that was the problem. Yeah. I should have waited a little while to buy it.
Yeah, it doesn't. That curse or superpower, whichever way you want to look at it, doesn't work for brand new games. You have to wait and buy it later, and that's when it works.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
That's how it usually happens with Bandai Namco games, anyways. Because just historically speaking, because they have had a lot of their games on Game Pass, they usually come out upwards of close to a year after they come out, and I feel like it's been about a year now since Tales of Arise, so that's why I haven't bought it yet. Because I'm just waiting. I can smell it. You know what I mean? But it's where is it? I want it. I want it.
But yeah, I am more than happy to see Persona games come to another console, so a whole nother audience can do it. And I mean,
this is like they've had the spin-off games on other consoles.
Yeah. Yep.
And they had which one's on the Switch? Isn't there one that went on the Switch, or is that just people wanted it on Switch? I think it was just people wanted it on the Switch.
That's just Persona 4 Scramble is on Switch.
Yeah.
But like the actual
Persona Q is on 3DS.
Yeah, the actual Shin Megami Tensei games are on Switch. 3 is on Switch.
Those are all
the actual mainline.
Plus,
Shin Megami.
Come on, it's Atlas. They have games everywhere. It's just Persona itself hadn't been on another console. That doesn't mean that it never could.
Right.
So whatever contract they had lapsed at this point, or that never existed in the first place, that just happened to only be on PlayStation. And
I don't
now Xbox is like, here, have a bunch of money. Can we have your games, please? And they're like, yes, thank you.
Yeah. And I never knew if there was I've never really heard if there was a contract that kept those games exclusively to Sony or not. But boy, there was a fan base of Sony fans that were really upset that
guys,
thing was...
Here's the thing, guys, those games have been out for a long time, especially Persona 3. Come on.
Yeah, those games are crazy old.
You've owned probably every version of them, or at least a version of it, and have played it all this time. It doesn't affect you. Maybe some other people who don't have a PlayStation console Like, oh, hey, I've heard of this game. Let me try it. And then there's more people to play games that you like, and then that makes them more likely to make a new one.
And guess what?
Not only that,
there's a
Persona
market.
3 and Persona 4 are also coming to PlayStation 5, so don't worry about it. It's all okay.
It'll be okay at the end of the day. Yeah,
your little plastic box doesn't have to be that special. It's okay. It's fine.
The only difference is you have to pay for it.
Why didn't people
pay
cry?
for it too? Just in a different way.
Yeah. Why didn't
and it comes with a lot of other bonus games.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it just comes with a couple hundred other games with it. Why didn't people make that big of a fuss when Yakuza came over to Xbox? I don't remember people, and I was more excited about Yakuza coming to Xbox than I was.
Because Yakuza is a different fan base that's maybe just not as rabid in that way, or it's just not as big as Persona is, or with at least a certain crowd. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's, you have this hardcore anime fan base that's super protective of their stuff, and with the power of anime on their side, you know what I mean, versus like Yakuza.
You're protective of your stuff. Having it come out on more platforms is a good thing, which means there's a bigger audience for them to sell those games to, so they'll make more of the stuff you love. It's a win for everyone. Just don't be an idiot.
It's like that.
I agree 100%.
Stupid petition going around for Kojima to not put his game on Xbox. Right. It's like, what? What do you even?
People looks at that and he's like, okay, I will totally do that if you give me more money than Xbox gave me.
Right. And I hate to tell them, they're not going to
Good
give more
luck.
money than Xbox is going to give them. Microsoft is going to give them a lot of money. What else? They showed Diablo 4 with the Necromancer. That game looks cool. I can't wait.
Diablo 4 looks great.
It looks like a Diablo game.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, it does.
Did they say that one was coming to Game Pass or not? I can't remember.
No, they didn't.
I don't think
it's coming to Xbox, but they didn't say it was coming to Game Pass.
Well, it'll definitely come to Game Pass if the whole Blizzard thing officially comes through. Once that happens, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, and every Call of Duty will be on. The amount of games that is going to hit Game Pass is going to be ridiculous when that Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, give it another year or two, however long it takes to push that through officially.
I was reading the other day, and they figure by fiscal year next year, the end of first part of fiscal year next year, it'll be done. They said it's moving at a stupid fast pace for some reason. So hopefully, there were some reports.
Well, I mean,
they
the
said
time
maybe
between
December by the time it's done. So.
Yeah, well, it's like the time between they announced, we're buying a Bethesda to when it became official, like that length of time. Add that to whatever they're doing for Activision Blizzard, and then be like, okay, you can guess about when it might go through. It's not like it's going to be the same. Who knows?
No, but who knows? Yeah. Minecraft Legends was announced. That looked pretty cool if you're a Minecraft fan.
Really
Speaking of a game where the cinematic looks better than the game.
That was interesting when they actually went to the gameplay, because it looked like really pretty at first, and then not that I thought it looked bad, but it was like, but it looked better. But
if they'd just shown the gameplay on its own, that would have been cooler. But the first part looks like, I thought it was going to be maybe another story game, kind of like the Telltale Minecraft stuff or something, but I was like, okay, no, this is just a cinematic of some type. But it's kind of looks like it's supposed to be kind of an RTS, not exactly, I think, or some sort of, maybe not quite that way. I don't know. It almost reminded me, from little snippets we've seen of it, kind of like Brutal Legend, the RTS parts of that game, where you're like you're running around the field yourself versus being zoomed out like a StarCraft or old Warcraft game.
Yeah. Looked interesting.
It could be cool. Sure, milk the Minecraft license as much as you can, guys.
Absolutely, that's what they paid for.
It'll sell.
If it doesn't work, they're like, oh well, we still have actual Minecraft that makes us money, and all the toys and stuff we sell.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. The Mike, we were talking about Flight Simulator. The update with it going to have the Halo Pelican on there. I'm kind of
already in there.
Yeah, it's already in there. So the Spirit of St. Louis, all kinds of 40th anniversary stuff looked really cool. I actually have that downloaded to the external hard drive. I need to move it back over to the Series X and play it. It's such a big game. It's like over 100 gigs.
It's huge. It's like 150, I think. I downloaded it. It was like one of the first things I downloaded when we finally got a Series X, and I played it for a little bit, but look, I'm not meant to be a pilot, man. So after I played couple hours, I uninstalled it. I was like, I'm good now.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful game.
Yeah, I didn't uninstall it. I just moved it over to the external hard drive. I was like, I'm going to store it there because I don't want to download another 100 and some gigs again.
Yeah, it took a long time.
I have fast internet, but it's like, I didn't want to.
Yeah, it's still a chunk of time.
Grounded 1.0 comes out September. I actually played a little bit of that game the other day when we all started to, talking about maybe playing it. I went ahead and booted it up, played it. It's not that bad. It's different.
I liked it when it first came out.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see it finally come out of early access. That's what I've been waiting for. Because I wanted to try it the week of or the day of actually, when it first went into game preview, and I actually enjoyed it. I think I streamed it for a few days, and I was having a great time with it. But it did get to that point where I was like, okay, there's still a lot of polish that needs to be done. There's still probably a whole other year or so until this game is like truly like done. So I'll just wait for that. But finally, September, that'll be that time. I'll jump back in, and things will be.
What little bit of it I've played, it seemed very polished and very done. It just seemed like it.
I'm sure it is now. Yeah.
You kind of get to a point where it's like, you really need to play with somebody to get this or this done, which, of course, it's a 4-player co-op game, so they want you to play with somebody. So, but I thought it was cool. Of course, we started to talk about Forza. Beautiful game. Can't wait for Forza. I love the motorsports Forzas. I mean, I like Horizon and stuff like that, but I'm a big fan of the motorsports, and it looked a lot better than Gran Turismo 7. I'm sorry. 4K 60 and real-time ray tracing while they're racing.
Ray tracing as well.
Man, it had the ray tracing. It looked.
And it wasn't just that. Like what really did it for me was the dynamic, not just the weather, but the day-night system where the tracks changed in the way that they look. Also,
Yeah,
but they'll have a festival going on in the background during the night, like beautiful fireworks going off, and it's crazy. It just makes you excited to jump into the track, the same track multiple times, just to see how it is during different parts of the day.
Not for me.
Yeah, I know you're not.
I'm more excited about the other Forza thing where we're gonna Hot Wheels again.
Hot Wheels, yeah. And like I said, I like Horizon too, but I really like my motorsports. I like to just sit down and just race, And I don't do all the tuning and all that crap. I just race.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, I like arcade racers more anyway, but thanks to a little game called Burnout Paradise, I haven't really enjoyed track-based games since that. Just I like being able to bomb around a bunch of different, like a big map versus here's a track, you can master it, which is cool. Lots of people enjoy that. It's just not for me.
Yeah. What I did like about the stuff with Forza was the damage. They slowed down and they showed the damage when the car hit the wall. It even had the tires all just scuffed and scratched.
Oh, this is the reason we need unlicensed car games again, because that damage makes me laugh. Sure, it's really detailed paint scratches and tiny dents. I want a burnt out husk tumbling down the road just like in Burnout Paradise, but done with today's technology.
Well, and you can do that with Forza.
That would be awesome.
I can turn the realism up to the point where I could just slam into the wall and break the axle and the car falls apart. And,
no, you can't. You know why? Car manufacturers don't want their cars destroyed the way that you can do with unlicensed stuff. So it can be to a certain degree, but it's not anywhere near what you could do in the old Burnout games.
That's why Forza or Gran Turismo doesn't have it at all. That's why you just hit a wall with the car and it bounces off.
That kills me with Gran Turismo.
Yeah, I do.
That really kills me with that. Yeah.
I don't.
I want tires flying off. I want sparks. I want everything, man.
I like to hit the wall.
It didn't even look like a car when you're done with it. That's what I want. Crash mode. Give me a game with crash mode in it again.
Yeah.
Bring back Burnout, EA, you cowards.
More Burnout.
What else do we want to talk about before we talk about
Pentiment looked cool as a surprise little game from a tiny team in Oblivion.
Valheim's coming to Game Pass and console.
That makes sense.
So that makes total sense. That was on the other announcement, the other show, the extra show, which I have not watched yet.
Let me see. Scroll.
What else? Yeah, I'm looking through the pictures here. I thought of The Plague's Tale. You really like that game, right?
I like that, showing that again. It doesn't have a specific
I've always wanted to play it, but it's cool that
I've never played it.
It's really good.
When you talked about it, it kind of made me play it, and then I was like, you know what? I really need to download and play it, and then I kind of forgot about it. So
I think it's one of the few
20 hours too.
Yeah, it's like it's a fair, like I think the length is perfect for what it is. It doesn't overstay its welcome, I feel.
Yeah, it's somewhere between 10 and 15 your first time through.
Yeah.
Probably if you're taking your time to kind of do stuff, if you start rushing, you can probably do it a little quicker. But
yeah, no, I think
it's
we have a
pretty much a
review at the
linear
Gamers
story
Lounge.
game. It's fun.
Yeah,
but they do
we
a
have
good
review
job
at
of kind of like shaking up the gameplay as you go, so it evolves over the time that you're playing. It's not just the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, it's real good.
Plus, it's still a very pretty game.
Yeah. They showed the trailer for Ark 2,
Oh,
which we
man.
already knew about that.
Did you boo like I did when they were all trying to get us excited about, hey, the pit's coming to Fallout 76?
Well, we knew it was. We knew it would eventually. You know what?
So,
Plus,
like,
you're
who
in
cares?
the
Plus, it's the pit.
Yeah.
Of all the stuff from Fallout 3, the pit was my least favorite.
Well, and the pit makes sense because Fallout 76 is in West Virginia, and literally Pittsburgh is 70 miles.
It's close. Yeah,
it's 70 miles north from the it's like that makes sense. And trust me, I go to Pittsburgh way too much in real life. I don't need to go there in Fallout. I really don't. I just don't. I don't like it in real life, and I don't like it in Fallout, but it's fine. Fallout 76 is one of those games that I really wanted to get back into, and I just haven't. Since they've done all the updates to it and added the NPCs and all that kind of stuff. I really need to give it another spin again. I'd probably enjoy it, especially since it sounds like we're not going to get Fallout 5 for a very long time.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, no.
Not until after Elder Scrolls 6, they said,
and
which
at this
God knows where that is.
I'm going to guess...
Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be about 2030, and then Fallout 5 will be about 2099 because they have to do some weird technology leap.
And then they did show some gameplay of Starfield. So what did we all think of
Not yet.
Not yet? You want to talk about something else?
There's still some smaller things I want to mention. The Last Case of Benedict Fox looked really cool. It's kind of like
that
a
one did.
side-scroller. I think maybe Metroidvania, hard to tell, but it looked really cool just art style-wise.
I was getting kind of some like Limbo, like Little Nightmares vibes from that, actually. Just more like a side-scrolling narrative.
Yeah.
Was that the one that was done by the Limbo guy? What was the one that was done by the Limbo?
That's a different
one. No, that was Cocoon. You're thinking of Cocoon.
Okay.
Cocoon is that one.
That's right. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Flintlock
when you said
also
Limbo,
looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Flintlock looks cool. It's kind of like a not necessarily a AAA game, but it'll like mix somewhere between AAA and like indie. That looked like it could be fun.
I was interested in it.
I don't remember. I think we'd seen that one at some point before something, because Flintlock, the name at least seemed familiar to me. So I don't know if there's
there's another game called Flintlock.
I don't remember, but just whatever they showed at the Xbox thing looked cool. Lightyear Frontier looked pretty cool too, like a alien crop farming game, something, I don't know. But
I thought it was a No Man's Sky spinoff at first. I was getting a lot of No Man's Sky vibes from it.
Then it's like mech farming. It's like you're a farmer, but you have a mech.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah. That'd be cool. I thought
and then there's a bunch of other small things too. But those
that
are the ones
Gunfire Reborn I thought looked pretty cool. That 4-player co-op RPG.
Yeah, it looked okay.
Yeah, it looked kind of cool.
We can mention one that still I'm just like, you're not selling me guys, is Ark 2.
Yeah.
Just because you have like Uncanny Valley, really bad looking Vin Diesel, like he's fine for a trailer, I guess, but like he's not gonna look like that in the game. Also, Ark was many things, but putting a celebrity in the sequel does not make sense to me. Like you sell it on the dinosaurs, not because Vin Diesel's in it. Like it's so weird. Yeah. Ever since the first time they've done it, and then continues like, okay, yep, Vin Diesel's in this game. We want you to know he's in it. I'm like, cool, but all we've really seen him do is ride a dinosaur. Like, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, what's he gonna do?
Apparently, he was a fan of the first one, so now he's like an executive producer in this new one. So that's why I don't know. It's a whole thing. So.
Sure, I don't know. Unless you're gonna completely change the genre of game, it makes no sense that he's in it.
Yeah. I've never played Ark. It's free right now to keep on Steam, so I added it to my Steam account. I thought, hey, I'll download it to the Steam Deck. It's Steam Deck verified, and it's like 125 gigs. Nah, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a game that looks way cooler than it is. It takes, even for survival game standards, it takes a long time to do anything unless you're playing like the PC version and set up. You can tweak the timing for certain stuff, which is cool. But it's just very janky. The way that it just everything animates and the physics and things in that game, and they had improved some stuff over time for sure. But it's just when they first revealed that game, how cool it looked. I don't think it ever quite got to that level.
Yeah, it's too bad.
It's fine. It's not like it's a bad game. It's just kind of like not a game you'd expect Vin Diesel to be in the sequel for some reason. like that's weird.
Overwatch 2 goes free to play. I kind of saw that one coming. I figured it would probably be a free to play game.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me just because I know the user base has been kind of declining. So this will definitely bring those numbers back up. But also, like, that's going to change the entire ecosystem of that game just because they got to make money somehow, right? That's how these games work. So,
granted,
that's
they
probably
why they're calling it
Overwatch
2 instead of just like continuing to expand Overwatch the first game. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's weird because like if you have the original Overwatch, it's just going to update to Overwatch 2. Like it won't be. It's not a separate thing, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited for it regardless because I'm excited for all the new changes. I think it'll definitely keep things refreshing. But I'm scared for how they're going to handle the monetization. But who knows? Maybe it might not even be that much different just because they already made billions of dollars from those loot boxes alone. So don't fix what's not broken. I'm sure they could add extra stuff like skin packs and whatnot. But those loot boxes they can literally live off of. So they're good. You know.
So it'll be kind of like when Team Fortress 2 went free to play back in the day. It's like, hey, it was this thing, now we've evolved it into this other thing, and then it continued to evolve even after that. So it'll probably be something similar here, as long as people are gonna play it. But yeah, like if you're making most of your money from the first game from all the stuff that's the microtransactions versus that initial price tag, just get rid of the initial price tags. You get more people in initially, and then be like, "Ooh, I want that shiny thing!" Right? That's exactly. They're gonna make plenty of money. It'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So Starfield, feelings, thoughts?
It looks like a Bethesda game.
It does.
What's the
for good and for bad?
Next year, right? Like mid.
I was gonna say that's got pros and cons.
Well, they said 2023. I've heard maybe early 2023, mid 2023, first half of 2023, maybe.
I bet we'll get a release date for it when it's fairly close to coming out within like maybe 3 months or something. Like, hey, it's coming, so they don't have a big of a gap. So they're gonna wait till they're completely ready before they actually put a date on it again.
Yeah,
at least they should.
It looked cool to me. I think if you watched it on the live stream, it doesn't do it justice. You got to go back and watch the trailer.
Definitely better when you look at the full resolution on it.
The 4K
but
60 version.
It looks like a shinier version of Fallout 4, but also spaceships.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty much what it looks like, which makes sense. They're not going to completely reinvent it. They're like, okay, we've got our formula, and the last game had some base building, so let's kind of do that again. But now we can do spaceship building too. Like they're going to keep building on what they've already got because those games are so huge that you can't just start from scratch.
Yeah. And of course, now everybody says it looks like it's a No Man's Sky ripoff. I'm like, no, it's not No Man's Sky.
Not a No Man's Sky ripoff, but they did rip off some stuff from No Man's Sky.
Yeah, they did. I mean, but a lot of other space games ripped some stuff off of No Man's Sky too. It's not just Starfield.
It's not like No Man's Sky invented all those things. It's like, hey, there's been lots of games that you gather resources, and even if you narrow that down to games you gather resources with a laser beam, there'd still be more than one.
And it's in space. It's like,
or
come on.
Scanning things. Yeah. Hey, I have a thing that I scan things, and it gives me more information about that plant or that alien I looked at. Like, okay, it's not like there's any old games like, I don't know, Metroid Prime that had scanning in it. Let alone all these other ones. It's just like, sure. No Man's Sky is a recent example that has some stuff, and the way that they implemented it in here looks very similar because they're both spacey games, right?
Right.
That's why everyone's comparing to it. And it does make sense. It looks like No Man's Sky in some of the aspects, but doesn't look like it's the same game. It looks like they took some elements that were from No Man's Sky and other games like it and put it into their RPG.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's a role-playing game with a story and NPCs and, quests. And, it's a different... It's not just a survival game. It's an RPG. It's a role-playing game.
And if you hear what Todd Howard kind of said after it, the presentation, I'm not quoting him exactly, but he makes it sound like, yeah, you can play the fun part or you can play the boring procedural planets. That's basically what he said. Just, he didn't say it that dismissively, and he was trying to spin it as a positive thing, but just the way that he said it to me, I'm like, okay, so you have all these procedural planets that are boring, and then you have the crafted RPG story part. Great.
Yeah, like actual important part. Yeah.
Because as soon as in that video they said thousands of planets, I'm like, no, guys, you struggle with a big map, let alone freaking tons of planets. So like most of those are just going to be procedurally generated, boring things like it's an ice ball, cool. And Todd Howard literally said he wants players to be able to land on a thing, spend 5 minutes, and say, nope, I don't want to be here, and leave. I'm like, what's fun about that? Like, okay, it makes it quote bigger because there's a bunch of planets out there that are dumb and boring, and maybe that's more realistic, like real life, but. It's a video game.
Right. Yeah. Modders will have fun with it. Oh, the modders will have fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great. I mean, No Man's Sky was incredible for mods, so I'm just imagining
I want to
something
wait until we have Macho Man Planet, where it's just a big Macho Man head in space. Because you know that they have to put something Macho Man into every Bethesda game.
Yep, they do. So,
it looks like a game to me that'll be fun. I think it's cool they're doing more of a hard sci-fi or like quote realistic sci-fi kind of angle, because we like in quotes, but it's more towards like that side of things where we're using like realistic thrusters, and it looks like it could work a little bit more towards that versus Star Wars space fantasy side. We don't have as many games like Starfield that are going for that particular slice of sci-fi.
Right.
So that's cool, but it's just like, I don't know. I think it'll be fun. I'll play it some. It'll probably be kind of like Fallout 4 where I play it for a bit and then end up getting a little bit bored with what happens, or maybe it'll be awesome. Who knows? We'll find out.
Who knows? I'm still looking forward to it, and
I'm not looking forward to it as much as Outer Worlds 2, even though we know nothing about that game other than they're making it.
Yeah, that's all we know is they're making it.
This just hit me, but like I wonder if the delay wasn't so much the reason for we need a little more time. I'm sure they appreciate the more time to polish out the kinks and everything.
But they need more time.
But I'm wondering if I think it'd be great if the day that acquisition is finalized and Xbox officially owns Bethesda, assuming that day, if not soon afterwards, that's when the release date is, and then that way same day Game Pass, no questions asked. Because right now it was not slated for Game Pass, was it? It was just like, here's an Xbox exclusive, but I don't think it was.
No, it was always slated for Game Pass because they own Bethesda.
Yeah,
that ink is dried and
Bethesda.
done.
That's
that's been months ago. That's done down the road months ago, like
So
the end of last year done.
Okay.
That's what I was like. That happened a long time ago, man.
Yeah, the day day that they dried the ink is when they had that press release conference video, whatever you want to call it, where they all sat down and talked. That was the day that Bethesda officially became when Phil Spencer said that we bought Bethesda to put Bethesda games on Game Pass. That was when it was official. Bethesda is part of Xbox, and that's been 6-7 months ago now. So I mean, ever since that ink dried, Starfield was coming day one to Game Pass, and they said it.
Actually, you know what? So I'm sorry, I got confused. I meant I had Activision Blizzard in my head. So I said Bethesda. Never mind then.
Hey, also, if you watch the Devolver Digital thing where they made the joke that Microsoft Xbox bought Bethesda again just for fun, maybe that was also in your head. That was like
possibly
of all the weird, crazy jokes that they had in that thing, that was the best one. It was pretty funny. It made me laugh out loud.
That was the most convoluted yet insane. I mean, we'll get to it, but man,
it's Devolver. It's what they do.
Yeah, it's Devolver. Yeah.
and I'll just touch because I haven't watched the Xbox presentation, the extended version. It was another hour and a half with stuff, and Nathaniel, you said you watched some of it, or
I didn't watch any of it really. I read a recap of it somewhere, and then watched a couple of things. They had like Texas Chainsaw Massacre gameplay, I think. But then some of the other things was just some extended stuff that we already saw on the main Xbox thing.
Developer interviews and things like that.
And some interviews and stuff like that. So it wasn't like, it's not the same kind of showcase as the main one was. It was definitely called extended for a reason.
Yeah, we had some things here, power storms. I didn't get a chance to watch it because I've been nonstop busy the past 2 days trying to get everything straightened up from that. So literally tomorrow when I'm putting furniture together, I'm just going to play in the background for the hour and a half that I put a couch together. and
Sounds like
entertainment.
that sounds like a great background. He's gonna find himself stopping, putting the legs like.
Yeah, I'm gonna put on this. Oh, that looks cool. Yeah. All right, let me get back.
What was I doing?
Let me get back to my ranch.
He's gonna now. Is the couch done? You're like, nah, I get it done eventually.
Yeah. So.
Well, technically, all the pieces are together, but the legs are on the back. I don't know how that.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. There's only 4 pieces in the box: 2 legs, the bottom, and the back. Now, how I screwed that up, I'll never know.
Why do I have AA batteries here? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, where did these D cells come from? What still takes Ds? What's some of that?
This couch obviously needs a car battery.
Yeah. Why is there holes in the cushion already? This is brand new. I don't know.
It came that way.
It's like when you buy jeans with holes. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
They call that weathered. That's the style now. That's the style now.
The whole genre.
Distressed. I'm sorry, it's distressed is what they call that. That's the style.
Our
now.
couch is distressed, so you don't have to.
Yeah,
be.
those kids are into the distressed stuff. That's how they make their money. So the Devolver Digital. I haven't watched it either, but I know Dennis and Nathaniel did. So I did see some highlights of it. That it was like they're always crazy, but
you just gotta watch them because they're over the top, ridiculous, insane, and always fun and entertaining to watch. Even if they only have like half a dozen trailers, they pad it out with all the funny comedic bits in between.
Yeah, and they didn't show a ton of games, and it was only like 25 minutes or something like that, half hour. Maybe.
Oh yeah, they could have shown all the trailers in like less than 10.
Yeah.
Like the trailers part of it was, not the most for the runtime of it. Is definitely the over the top comedy storyline that they're doing.
Yeah.
So what was anything stand out game wise other than the craziness?
I mean, they showed that Cult of the Lamb game again. It looks kind of cool.
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to that since it was announced in the Direct a couple months ago, and it comes out on my birthday too, so it's a cool little birthday present.
And then they also showed one called The Plucky Squire that just art-wise looks awesome.
Yeah, that looked really
cool.
I saw that trailer.
I was kind of describing to you guys earlier. It's like completely different art style and everything, but it's kind of like Mario Odyssey, where you have kind of like a 3D environment where you're doing 2D things on a surface.
Yeah.
And then you're also really popping out and doing, a 3D character as well in some parts. At least that's what it looks like for the trailer. So hopefully the game looks as good as whatever the trailer did, because it looked awesome.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to have a lot of unique mechanics to it, and just the way that you go from sort of 2D to 3D is actually really impressive. And just how they utilize all that. It's just so, I mean, it could potentially be, I don't want to use the word groundbreaking, but it could be definitely something refreshing and new that's going to get the attention of a lot of people, even people that probably wouldn't even expect themselves to play something like this. I can see it being something that is somewhat influential.
It's not AAA. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's not. I don't see any AKs or camo, so it's not for me.
Forget it. I don't need that.
They also had Skate Story, which is like the game itself looks cool, just art style wise, but the description that they have in there is just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
you're a demon in the underworld made out of glass and pain, because the character you're playing just looks kind of like you're made of crystal or something.
Right.
All sorts of facets like a jewel would have, except human shaped on a skateboard. For some reason, the devil's giving you a skateboard with a simple deal: skate to the moon and swallow it, and you shall be freed.
Oh, is that all I gotta do?
Sure, right? But the trailer, other than that, flavor text that keeps popping up that's like weird, is like, okay, you look like you're a glass man skateboarding through a bunch of environments. So it's like, all right, it's definitely not Skate or anything like that. Yeah. It's not Tony Hawk, but it's a unique take on skating games that nobody else would do.
If there's anything I can say about a Devolver Digital games or presentation, is they always have some of the most weird, strange, but unique games, and then when you actually play them, you're like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, like at the very least they try to do something weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
although they're just the publisher, they're not the actual game developer, which they made a joke about in their presentation this year.
Yeah.
It was all about like they made a singularity, a gaming singularity by doing a countdown to nothing. They didn't have an actual goal to the countdown. They're just counting down because it's good for marketing. And then like everything's coming together, and they're all like wearing, what was it, Tom Clancy's Animal Crossing shirt in the middle of it. One of them was wearing, because like all the things are combining.
Yeah, everything's getting bought out. So.
And that's where they make the joke that like Microsoft just bought Bethesda again for fun. But they have like a mech that has a monitor screen in the middle of it that had Suda51 in it. He was like, so it's starring Suda51 as a mech in the Devolver Digital thing. Like,
yeah,
it's bonkers. Which they're always bonkers, so it's not like you're ever surprised. But like somehow they keep managing to have different flavors of bonkers, because this one has a lot of different sci-fi references in it.
Yeah. Well, he's crazy in general too. So then add that to the whole Devolver thing, and then my God, I mean, it's just, you want to talk about singularity.
And it's not like he's promoting a game or anything so they could time it. It's just like, no, can we get Suda? Do you want to do a weird gag with us for our presentation? Sure, why not? I'll say some stuff, and I'll spend like a couple hours recording things that you can then in post put on a screen on a robot. Sure.
Yeah,
he's the best.
But it was a lot of fun though.
The video developer in me is like, hey, you guys definitely didn't take your time on that green screen on that robot, because I could see your matte lines. Or like a couple times the people are like slightly transparent, so you could see the robot behind them a little bit because their keying for the green screen was a little bit off. So it's like, I wonder how rushed they were to put these things together.
All right. Now I put this one in here because Dennis had oh man, that muscle relaxer's kicking in. Mentioned it.
We're having muscle relaxer simulator on our podcast today.
I'm having trouble forming words. Anyway, the Wholesome Direct, which I don't even know what that is, Dennis. Is that like a indie direct? I never heard of it till you said something about it. So
yeah, it's actually relatively new. They've had it only for the last year, maybe 2 at most. But that's usually where they get like the super small studios and that sort of present their stuff. But everything is, as you would imagine, wholesome. So everything's really cute, colorful, and relaxing. So it's perfect for presenting stuff like that. So it's, and you have an entire presentation solely focused on that versus, it mixed in with, big AAA explosions and stuff like that.
Sounds like a lot of stuff I would find on itch.io.
That's actually a good kind of explanation of it. Yeah,
which I'm not saying that as a bad thing, because I like itch.io a lot. So
no, we all love that itch.io, but yeah, no, it's just a whole slew of just, it's really arguably, if you can get past all like the cutesiness and the colors, there's a lot of creativity there, man. Like a lot of creativity.
That paper trail game looks really cool.
Yeah, that one looks really good. I'm excited for Snacko, because I've had that on my Steam wishlist since I checked the other day too, since December 2020. So now it's finally releasing.
Well, there you go. There's a demo for that paper trail, so on Steam right now. Yeah,
that one looks really good. I think there's a like a Frog's Tale or something like that too. It was like a cute little RPG. Calico's getting like an updated version of itself. But yeah, no, a lot of great content there. That is just, and and if you love indie games, I mean, man, it's just a lot of exciting stuff to look forward to.
Yeah.
So.
And I closed the whole window there by accident. I really like and this is what I bought the Steam. I say this is what I bought the Steam Deck for, was for these indie games that you really can't get on Switch or Xbox or something like that, but I can play them on a platform that I can take them everywhere. Now, not all those games work on the Steam Deck because you have to have mouse and keyboard or whatever, but. That's why, and I'm kind of, that's kind of the next thing. The Steam Next Fest, I put a link to it in there because a lot of those indie games, they have demos up this week, and there's hundreds of them. And like last night, that's all I did was go through and go, oh, that game looks cool. There's a demo of it. Let me add that to my Steam Deck. Oh, it's got controller support. No, okay, I'm adding it. And it works just fine. So yeah, I really like a lot of those indie games. I never heard of this. That's why I put it in here. I'm like, well, let me put that in there. But yeah, that paper trail does look really cool. And they said there was nearly 100 indie games that were on display on that. I have not watched it yet, but that'll probably be another one that I'll put on in the background. So
Yeah, I think it lasted like an hour and a half, so it was like a decent chunk. Because it was also, well, technically 3 hours if you combine it with, because they had it with another stream called the Guerrilla Collective, which also kind of does more or less the same thing when just kind of showcasing those sorts of indie games. But yeah, no, big variety of stuff. Stuff from, I mean, even Coffee Talk episode 2 was there, The Garden Path, which I'm looking forward to. Snacko, like I said, Little Bear Chef, Paper Trail, of course. Just a lot of unique looking stuff that will be. And a lot of it's coming to Switch too, and if it's not, like I said, it's coming to Steam. So and you have that Steam Deck too, so perfect for just relax and just lay down, maybe put on some earphones, headphones, whatever, and just, get taken away, Don't have to worry about death or anything like that. Just relax, man.
Right.
Relax, play a game, and enjoy life.
There was like some of those games, a couple of them just off the top of my head that I downloaded and played the other night was Midnight Fight Express on Steam. That game looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a
That
beat 'em
one,
up.
that one.
Isometric, yeah.
Developed by one person also.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
It was really fun, and it worked perfectly on the Steam Deck. It has full controller support, so it worked really good. The other one that I really thought was cool was Shinobi Non Grata. It's like the Messenger, but it's like 8-bit instead of 16-bit. And it's a Chinese developer, so it's very hard, but it's very cool. I liked it a lot. And there's a couple others that I've downloaded that I have not played yet. That's one bad thing when you're downloading all these demos, or you got to go through each one manually one at a time and go, okay, does this have full controller support? Because that really helps out a lot on the Steam Deck if it does. If it doesn't, you're kind of like, well, I'm not gonna install that demo. What was it? Oh, the Agent 64 Spies Never Die demo. Me and Eric were talking about that. Before that thing.
It looks like it looks kind of like Perfect Dark meets GoldenEye.
Yeah.
And I actually had read something about this before.
Yeah, that speaks to me.
And I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna definitely check this out. I'm gonna check out the demo, go into it with an open mind, and give it a shot. Yeah. Please have controller support, please.
It does. It's got full controller support, and it even has Steam Workshop support too. So there'll be a big mod community with it too. So, but yeah, and a lot of those demos are only up for the week. So, head over to Steam, download them, play them. I don't know if once you add them to your account, if they're always there. I don't know if it's like that.
Yeah.
If you've downloaded and installed it, it'll be there. But if you uninstall it, that's probably when it goes away.
Yeah,
that's how it usually works for other things in the past on Steam.
I haven't messed with Steam for a long time, and then I got the Steam Deck, and it's like, oh yeah, that was it. Yeah. It's like the other day they put Cyberpunk 2077 on sale, and I'm like, I think I'll go try that out on the Steam Deck. Yeah.
As I own it like 4 different ways.
It's like I already own it on Xbox and played it a lot on Xbox. It's like, man, let me buy it on Steam Deck and see how it runs. It doesn't run bad. Runs on medium, 30 frames per second. Looks good. Chugs a little, every once in a while, but nothing. It's not the game's fault. It's the hardware.
That hardware was not made for that amount of stuff that's.
No, it wasn't. And I will tell you what. That system gets hot when you run that game. But that's the first game that I've run on there that I went, ooh boy, that thing is getting hot. I could feel that coming up.
It's like you're playing a little indie game. It's like the Steam Deck's going for the walk. You put in, Cyberpunk. You're like, hey, Steam Deck, let's do CrossFit. Go.
Yeah, no, and the Steam Deck just goes. Whoa.
No warming up, just go.
Yeah, it was like, man, that gets hot. So that's pretty much it in a quick rundown.
There's something that you didn't put in here was the Capcom Showcase.
Oh, I forgot about the Capcom Showcase. Okay.
As it should have been, I didn't watch it, I just read the story. It should be called the Resident Evil Showcase, plus a couple things. Like, it's mostly Resident Evil news.
I know because they announced, when's the free updates for 2 and 3 coming out?
Those are out now.
Are they out now? Okay.
Yeah, because Resident Evil 2 popped up on Steam, and they're like, oh, hey, you got like a 15 gig update. I was like, oh.
See, I own those on Xbox, so physically, and I haven't played them yet. And I did like Resident Evil 2 a lot, and I've been considering maybe playing it.
Steam. I'd seen it on sale for cheap.
I got them when I bought that original Xbox, or the original Xbox One. I think it had those 2 games with it, and those were the only 2 games I kept. Well, there was a few games out there, I guess, but
$40.
I was like, man, I may play these one day, and then it's like, oh, there's Series X and S upgrades come from. I'm like, well, maybe I'll even play them now, or maybe really play them because it's. But yeah, I'll add that to the.
Yeah, like the Capcom mostly, like it's a little bit. I think they had a different trailer for Resident Evil 4 remake, and then they had some stuff about the expansion to Resident Evil Village that's coming in October.
Oh, yeah. So I barely played Resident Evil Village.
It's getting a third-person mode apparently.
Yeah,
for whatever that's worth. That would make me more likely to play it because I like third-person Resident Evil better than first-person.
I do too.
So. I don't know. I mean, sure, I might not. Who knows? Probably not right away. It'd be more like, hey, it's on sale in the future. I could get Resident Evil Village for like $20 or something. That might be when I would pick it up. But
yeah.
So, and then there's a couple of random things that I don't know. But yeah, it's mostly Resident Evil, and then like an update on Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak expansion and some other thing, and that was pretty much Capcom.
Yeah. Did anybody buy the Capcom bundle from Humble Bundle for $20? You get.
I didn't even realize there was one.
Monster Hunter
I just wanted the.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it.
Yeah, there's quite a lot in there actually.
Yeah, there was. I ended up buying it
because.
I ended up buying it because I wanted. Well, I wanted the Devil May Cries, and
I knew you were going to say Devil May Cry,
and the Monster Hunter games. But I put the Street Fighter games on my account anyway because I do want to try them out on the Steam Deck.
Fighter.
Street
Strider.
Yeah, Strider. I love that Strider game. That Strider game is really cool. I even like that Bionic Commando game. I thought that game was pretty fun too.
Yeah.
So.
I've had those for like ever though. So.
Yeah, I had those on like 360.
I've got Dragon's Dogma in that pack too.
Yeah, I haven't played that Dragon's Dogma.
Devil May Cry 5.
I mean, it's just Dragon's Dogma plus like an expansion or something. So
okay.
It's like the Dark Arisen. It's be like saying like Game of the Year or something like other games or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like a new edition of the same game. It's not like
okay. I didn't realize that. I thought it was a new game. So.
They've only ever really done the one Dragon's Dogma game for whatever reason.
I never paid that close of attention.
This might be like the remaster version or something.
It was really successful too.
Yeah, it was. It was really successful. So.
Well, it's like what 10-year anniversary or something is coming up soon-ish.
Something like that, yeah. So anything that we're disappointed that you didn't see that they didn't show? I kind of was hoping maybe we'd see some Avowal, but. I wanted to see some gameplay of that, but with it apparently not coming out next year, they're not going to show any gameplay for it. So.
Oh, there's no way it was ever coming out in the next 12 months. That game from the last time we saw it.
Right? Yeah. Well, and that's what I was saying. Since it's not coming out next year, they were going to show it. So.
But
I mean, it's possible it comes out next year at the end of the year, maybe, but that would be the absolute earliest I would ever expect to see.
Yeah, I don't figure we'll see anything of it till this time, probably next year.
I mean, they have plenty to show that's coming soon enough anyway that they don't have to. They can let that stuff stay in the oven a little bit longer before they bring it out to show us, so it'll be more complete by the time they do. So I was like, sure, whatever, it's fine.
I know a lot of
we're going to see a bunch of stuff from like id Software and some other studios that Microsoft has purchased that they're working on things. I think it's a little bit weird that we haven't seen Hellblade, which means it's not coming in the next 12 months, which that's one of the ones they've been pushing Hellblade 2 since kind of like these consoles were announced. It's kind of like, we've got Hellblade 2. It looks cool.
Not only that, but but like Fable.
You broke up there, so we didn't hear we didn't hear any of what you said, Dennis. Sorry, you broke up there.
Oh. Sorry. I was just saying, like, not even, like, no Fable, no Perfect Dark, because we just got cinematic trailers, like, a year or two ago. And
it's like Fable, like, those don't surprise me at all, because they seem that, like, they're pretty far out.
Yeah,
but
they do.
It just means that, like, in the next year when we have this kind of thing, those things will probably show up there, or, sooner than that too, possibly. But, when they do this event at this time next year, they still have enough stuff we didn't see this time around that we'll see plenty. Right. They'll have a lot to show next year too, probably.
I know a lot of Sony people who don't like Xbox. Xbox is not bringing out any AAA games this year. Well, yeah, big deal. They brought out 2 at the end of last year. And Sony's only brought out 2 at the beginning of this year. We're not even 100% sure if Ragnarok's coming out, by the end of this year. I'm still saying November.
Rumor says November for right now. So we'll see if they can still stick with that or if it has to slip more.
But once Microsoft really gets gets rolling out these games and gets hitting on us, man, they're going to have a ton of really good games coming out of those studios. It's going to be stupid.
Yeah.
It's gonna get to a point
we're
where
on the whole Avalanche is just starting phase,
Yeah.
and it's just going to keep getting bigger.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
'cause I do
you add
think-
Activision Blizzard to the mix too, and then bubbling that stuff out. It's like, holy crap.
Well, I don't know. They
do
don't
think
have
they're
a
gonna
lot from the studio.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Dennis.
But they have a lot of old IPs that they can bring up.
They
I was just
do.
gonna say that
True.
they're gonna have but they're gonna have their sort of at some point again like an Avalanche, you're gonna have that Nintendo. They're gonna reach to a point where like they have their own Nintendo moment where it's like almost every month is something new, right?
Yeah.
Like, and here's a new like first party published game. It's gonna get to that point. I feel.
Yeah.
Now we just gotta wait another year.
And I don't see how they can fumble it. I just don't see how they can fumble it at this point. I mean, yeah, they've staggered a couple, but you've got to look at the state of the world with with pandemic and people not working from home and stuff like that. And it's things.
Or some studios that are in part of the world that are have wars going on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Game development
everything going on
not
with soccer.
exactly going to happen in that environment.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
I mean, it's gonna be something. But I tell you what, if Sony does end up pushing Ragnarok back this year, the end of this year is going to be slim pickings for your big AAA games. If you're a big if you only play AAA games, you're going to have a drought for a while.
I'm sorry.
I mean, that's why you got to play, indie games of all shapes and sizes, because there's tiny ones, but there's ones that are just as polished as
absolutely
your big AAA games. They're just not quite as big in scope. There's tons of those still coming out because there's just a lot of them. It's the big AAA games over the pandemic times that's been delayed the most because they're the biggest, huge things with the most amount of people, the hardest to coordinate. Makes sense.
Yeah, I know it's a small minority, but man, there is a lot of people that are very vocal that only play AAA games, and I just don't understand that. It's like, to me, it's like, it's strange.
I don't understand
like
the ones
AAA
you're
games.
talking about. I understand the ones that like, I just play Madden every year, or I just play Call of Duty every year because they're one thing. That makes sense. But yeah, the ones that are like, I only play, Sony games, or I only play, these Microsoft ones or whatever. It's like, okay,
I bought a PlayStation 5 because I want to play God of War, and I want to play Horizon, and I want to play Gran Turismo, and those are the only games I want to play. Don't give me your crappy little indie games that don't have good story. No, that's your meat and potatoes. Your indie game or your AAA games are your steak and your desserts. That's but your indie games are your meat, and that's your roughage. You want those
maybe
games.
But no, it's more like that's where you get a variety of stuff. So it's like your meat, your roughage, your cookies, your candy, your look, this weird plant in my yard, but it looks kind of tasty, I'm gonna try it. There's all sorts of stuff there. It's weird how we've kind of flipped around too, because like a couple generations ago you had PlayStation was putting out all these little small indie games, and you have like that's where Journey and Flower and a bunch of other things came from, and then now it's just like, oh yeah, like now we don't care about that anymore. We're all about the big AAA story games, and that's where we put like all of our money. And the Xbox is over here like, hey, sure, let's put like, even if we're not doing it ourselves, we're getting a bunch of them to put it on Game Pass. So it's just kind of interesting how things evolve and change over time.
Yeah, it really is. And Game Pass has been a place for indie games. There's a bunch of indie games that I never
really
bought because I looked at it and went, I might be interested in that, but I'm not going to pay $20 for it. And then I play it on Game Pass, and then I go buy it, and then it's like, okay, well, let me buy it.
That's what I do.
Well, there's like several indie games that Game Pass gives them a second life because they've been out on PC for a while and they did, decent there, but then they come on Game Pass and get visibility again, so people are playing it there, or they might, because it came on Game Pass, see it and be like, oh, I'm going to go buy it, or, oh, yeah, I have that in my library, let me go play it,
Yeah, crazy. So, all right, well, has anybody else got anything that they want to say before we get out of here? I know it's kind of a shorter show for a big week, but we kind of wanted to condense it down and kind of just hit the high points of what we found were interesting. So, plus it's a Wednesday night, and none of us wanted to stay up till 2:00 in the morning to talk about it.
I mean, if I could just not go to work and do that tomorrow and like sleep in, then that would have been fine. But I
I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation, so I'm sleeping in tomorrow.
good for you.
Yeah, good for you. But,
I have to actually get up and go out of the house tomorrow, which I don't normally have to do because I work from home most of the time. But I have to go into the office for a meeting in the morning.
Yes, I get to go to the office tomorrow too. Wednesday, Thursdays are my office days.
But anyway, Dennis, I think you were going to say something. I totally cut you off there. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was just going to say that, like, really, I mean, I think the next thing we have to look forward to is rumors at the moment is by the end of the month, probably so in the next 2 weeks. That's when the Nintendo Direct's going to happen. It's June 29th is kind of the date that's been thrown around lately. But it's weird to have it because apparently they're also having their investor meeting that day. So maybe it might happen sooner. I don't think it'll happen later, but it might potentially happen sooner because it seems conflicting to have both the meeting and the Direct on the same day. Because that's a lot going on for that company.
Yeah.
So
I can already guarantee that people have way outsized expectations for what it would actually be.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
At this point,
sure.
Yeah.
What Nintendo didn't announce, like 15 Mario games, 12 Zelda games, another 15 Metroid games, and oh yeah, by the way, Nintendo is announcing they bought the moon. No, they didn't say that? Oh, it's a disappointment.
Right. Oh, this is the worst show ever.
I mean, for me, I don't know that I'll like watch it because I just don't care about 95% of what Nintendo does. It's like, all right, is Bayonetta here yet? Do you have a date for Bayonetta? No. Okay, are we gonna show me the new Metroid Prime yet? No. Okay, that's about all I'd be looking for from Nintendo at this point.
Yeah, and then you'll
because I doubt at this point I doubt they're gonna show the next Zelda game because it's pushed far enough away that they're not gonna show it yet. Not Nintendo. So it's kind of like, all right, well, we'll see.
That's
more than likely we see some more Pokemon.
Yeah.
So since that's their probably big game of the year.
That's my next project is to get Switch running on the Steam Deck.
Fancy.
I got
2 consoles in one. There you go.
Yeah, and I've seen.
That's how you like literally do that. Is you just tape the Switch to the Steam Deck and play the Switch, so it's on the Steam Deck.
Oh boy.
That would probably work too.
It technically fulfills the definition.
Yeah. I have seen a lot of videos on Switch games running on the Steam Deck, and it is very impressive. So it's like, yeah, maybe I'll do that for some of the games I.
It's crazy with these.
Oh wait, throw some better hardware at these games so that they don't stutter or have like terrible frame rates and they play better.
Yeah,
whoa,
wow, what
weird.
a concept! Who would have thought? Yeah. But...
I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen what people have been doing with older Nintendo 64 games, adding ray tracing and whatnot. Like those games look brand new again. They're gorgeous. They really are.
No, they don't. They look like crappy old N64 games with ray tracing on them.
Well, it's
they look better.
Low poly junk.
I sent
I'm being
Eric
harsh for fun, but yeah,
a picture of me playing. What was it? ESPN Football 2K. Was it 2K5 on the Steam Deck through Retro? And it was running at 60 frames a second at 12. It looked so good. It was like, holy crap! It was like, and I thought it looked good, on the PlayStation 2 back in the day. It's like, ooh, this actually runs pretty good. So now it's like, well, now I want to put GameCube games on there, and the GameCube games look really good. And it's like, oh, well, now I want to put Wii games on all that. Now it's like, well, let me put some Switch games on there and see what those look like. Yeah, so
those are going to look amazing.
Yeah, so
sure.
You'll probably get a message over the weekend and go, "Look what I did! I did a thing." So.
Did you get Wii U stuff working on there yet?
Oh yeah, I got Wii U stuff working on there. I got Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD, and
I would ask about like
ones.
PS3 or 360, but I know PS3 is pretty tough to emulate.
It actually runs really good on the Steam Deck. I haven't done it yet. I've got it on there. I've got everything on there. I just need to throw some ROMs on it. But some of those games are just so friggin' big that it's like, But yeah, I intend to put some NCAA football 2K14 on there, or NCAA football 14, because I still like to play that game. So, but I hate to dredge out the PlayStation 3 and hook it up, and then I hook it up to the RetroTink 5X so it'll play in 1440 and look better. It's like,
Then you gotta wait for the game to boot.
Yeah.
Disc.
All these old consoles with physical hard drives in them.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, but All right. Well, we're going to call that a show. Thanks, guys, for hanging out and listening with us. If you want to come hang out, like I say every week, if you want to come hang out in the chat with us, at GL_podcast on Twitter. We usually try to record on Saturdays. Of course, it's Wednesday this time, but whatever, it happens. The rare during the week Wednesday show that we've done. I can't tell you the last time we've recorded on a Monday through Thursday.
I mean, probably whenever we do some E3 type things. Those are usually whenever we've done different days, especially when E3 was still the big thing with everybody doing all their stuff, and we tried to split it up.
Yeah, we tried to do all that, but now it was so. But if you want to come hang out with us, awesome. If not, whatever podcatcher you want to catch us on, you're more than welcome to subscribe there, and you'll get the show whenever, because I'll put it up tomorrow, so you'll get a show way early this week. So
surprise!
Look at you, hooray! All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out with us, and we will catch you all next time.